Hello, good morning, and welcome to another class section on Sage 50 Accounting Cloud. Okay, so for today's class, we'll be looking at a topic which I will refer to as managing a company. Now, the very first step in an accounting software, for example, Sage, it's to create a company file. Now, once you're done creating a company file, it's expected of you to be able to manage your company file. So in today's class, we are going to look into how you can be able to manage your company file. And of course, the major essence of this is to give you the needed knowledge, as Sage has customized capabilities to meet your needs. Let's look into how you'll be able to manage your company files here in Sage 50. So getting started this morning, all you have to do, since you are now an existing user, and I must welcome you into that category of existing users, is to put in your user ID, put in your password, and then you say login. Alright, and here we go. So managing your company file or managing company here in Sage 50 Cloud is simple, and I believe you remember the processes you went through when you were trying to do what? Trying to perform your first task of creating the application. Now, many of Sage 50 capabilities, most times are not needed by all users, or are they even necessary for every business model, because you being able to manage your company has to begin with your business model. Take note, I said that managing your company file or working with your company here in Sage 50 starts from your business model. That's one. And secondly, your business operating approach. So it's very important that you understand how you can be able to do this, because Sage 50 has capabilities for all type of business entities, which might include, it could be entities like partnership, and by partnership I am referring to businesses owned jointly by two or more but without issued shares. Okay, it has capabilities for business entities like sole traders or proprietors, business entities like trust, could be social clubs, could be corporations, and by corporations I am referring to those companies owned by shareholders, whatever they may be called. You can decide to refer to them as that. So this is very important, and you need to know how you can be able to work, or how you can be able to manage your company. So I'm going to take you to a place on how you can be able to do this, and we'll be looking at two very aspects. Okay, now most times people refer to it as managing company settings, and of course you know what we mean by the word managing, and you know what we mean by the word settings. Okay, settings is just a place here, we refer to it as the company settings section. It's just a place here in Sage 50 where you customize many small details in Sage 50, and depending on which tabs you want to enable or information you want to provide, you will have options to enter, you will have options to define. Okay, you can also modify or customize or list everything, which could be from all what you'll be seeing, both reflecting for your documents and every other information, which is very important. So today's class, this is majorly what we are going to be looking at. So first and foremost, I want to welcome you to our very the Sage 50 environment, and we'll be looking at how we can be able to work or manage our company file today. All right, so basically what we'll be looking at is how you maintain and work with companies, and we'll also look at company setup and some company-wide processing options. Please write it down. We are looking at how you will be able to manage your companies, and also look at company setup and some company-wide processing options here in Sage 50. So how do you manage your company? Now, if you have, let's look at the situation where you have more than one company. Now, it's expected that when you log in as an existing user into the accounting application, okay, you should be able to navigate to a screen we call the Open and Manage Company screen. Now, how do you do that? Now, to manage your company's file here in Sage 50, you have to navigate to the company model. This is the company model. Select this option called Open and Manage Companies. So I'm going to select it. Of course, we want to be able to manage our companies, and so this screen, after clicking, is going to be displayed for you. So from here you can select which of the company file you want to open. Okay, it could be that we have our companies and their branches have already also been created, and for today I just want to navigate to so company's branch in Owerri, or it could be the branch is in Port Harcourt. All I have to do is to move down to my company model, come down to Open and Manage Companies, and this Open and Manage Companies screen is going to appear for me. And right here, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be able to select which company I want to work on, and they will be listed down here from page 1 to page 100 to page 1000, depending on how many companies I have. I can decide to search for companies from the search box. And when you're doing this, also note that if you're adding more than one company, of course you're going to say demands a different license fee, for that company. So at this point, this is where you'll be able to manage your company file, and you can as well decide that you want to create a new company. So like I said, from here you can select the company you want to open. I may say I want to open AOM Limited, or we have also GIG Limited. I can be able to do that. And there is also different options here. Like if you look down here, you will see an option here which reads open last used company on logon. Now this, by the time you have clicked this, automatically each time you log into the application, is going to open the last company which you are working on. And Sage provides this feature, okay, so that the next time you are working, it will always open that. But if you don't want that, you can also do what? Untick it. Remember I talked about customizing. So if I have unticked this now, okay, and I go and log out of the system, when I log in, what I'm going to see, the screen I'm going to see, is going to be the Open and Manage Companies screen, which you can also call the Open and Manage Companies window. You want to doubt it? Let's check it. So now I've unticked that command. Let me go and do what? Log out of this company. Stay tuned, we are coming back. Yeah, we have a lot to cover. So now if I come to log out, I'll have to come over here to the right top corner, click there and say what? Log out. So if I click on log out, Sage is going to log me out because I've just sent a command message. So you can see I've been logged out. So now I want to log in as an existing user that I am. So I'm going to click on login. Oops, yes. So I'm going to say log me in. Okay, now something happens here. We got to see AOM Limited. Okay, so if you don't want to enable that for it to always open the last company you use, like I said, you can untick it and leave it that way. And if it's important to also mention that if you only have one company, definitely it's not necessary, because each time you log in you will have to see that company. So this very option is going to be active when you have created more than one company using the add company option here, which we have on my screen. So but before ever you're doing this, you must understand the fact that Sage always ensures that you have acquired a separate license for you to be able to carry this tax out. So if you have only one company, your company that you have will always open, and it's going to, of course, you know, the very first screen is going to be the dashboard screen instead of the open and manage company screen. But where you have purchased a second license to be able to create for more than one two companies, you'll be able to see the open and manage company screen, which is just like in the Sage desktop or Peachtree, which is the very first screen you will see when you're trying to log in, which has to be with the screen, the no company open screen, so you can be able to select which company file you want to work on. So it's good to mention that you being able to create new companies, can be done from this very open and manage company screen just by clicking on this add a company. You can see it, add company option here. You'll be able to navigate to doing that very task. If I click on add company, you're going to see that it takes me to the steps needed for me to be able to perform that. So I'm going to go back to our open and manage company screen. Okay, so also another thing you need to take note of is let's talk about the situation whereby you want to delete this company. Time to time people find it difficult. What if I want to delete a company file here in Sage 50 Cloud? Now deleting a company file, it's not a difficult one, because for example, maybe you no longer need this company file, you don't need this company data anymore. Of course you can delete it, and all you have to do is to select delete, and I can assure you that the company file is going to be deleted immediately. And what is going to show is that the company status is going to change at that point. And what will you see? You're going to be seeing pending deletion, and an email will be sent to you from Sage. Okay, you will need to confirm that deletion, where after the company will be deleted. So like now you can see company status log in. Now if I'm clicking on delete, company status is going to be changed to what? Pending deletion. And that's part of what you will see, for this very company file. And I must follow those procedures before I can be able to delete my company file. So ladies and gentlemen, once you have deleted a company in Sage 50, let me inform you that the company cannot be retrieved. You can no longer retrieve that company file. So with this, we are done with this. So like I said, you use the search companies box here to search list of companies out of all your listed companies based on the fact that you have upgraded and met the demands, okay, getting extra license to add more than one company, and you'll be able to do that. And that also gives you the privilege to transfer ownership of your business. Okay, transferring ownership of your business, of course you know what we are talking about, where you want to transfer, okay, your company, you want to change your company owner email address to a new email address. It could be your company has been merged or acquired by a different company. You can be able to do that, and you can see a lot of reasons here, options you have to tick, provided you have entered your new company email. So if your company have been acquired or have been merged, okay, you have to come here and put in the new owner's email address, the new parent company or the new owner's email, or the acquired company address. You state the reason for that company transfer, You can select I consent to the above transfer of company data from my profile to the above mentioned profile. I accept that we no longer have access to the company data. I will confirm that all users are locked out of the company. I accept that all users that I have invited to this company profile will no longer have access to the company data. I accept that all bank feeds used in this company will be unlinked. And of course, you know what we mean by bank feeds, what connects your bank with Sage to ensure that you have a real-time reporting system, which is most time not advisable for you to work with that. So you use this to transfer ownership. So whenever your business has been acquired or merged or whatever happens, you come over to transfer ownership and also effect that kind of event, what took place actually. And also you can also manage models, and time to time I explain what we mean by models. Okay, we have a lot of models here, from the customer models, which makes up what we call the master list. Okay, the master list just makes up of those important models you cannot do without. So you can manage your models, and you can upgrade more models that you need, like advanced inventory models, debtors management models, multi-currency models, which this free trial doesn't really generate for us to be able to get that. So you can manage your models or increase your models by clicking on that very option. So once you're done, always turn on the or click on the cancel button. So ladies and gentlemen, with this, okay, where you have just crossed one step on how to manage your companies. Okay, with this you have just crossed one step on how you can manage your companies. Now let's look into the number two aspect on how to manage your companies. Now, managing your companies is far from just doing this. Okay, and what is the number two and the last aspect you need to take note of when you're trying to manage your companies? It's what we call company settings. Managing your company settings. If it was in QuickBooks, you manage your company settings on a tab called the preference tab, but here in Sage it's very straightforward. All you have to do is to come straight to your company, and you'll be able to see where we have company settings. Change company settings. So when you create your company, okay, let me start by saying that when you create your company here in Sage, most times you do not necessarily have to add the company details of your company at the same time. And I told you that later on that Sage provides capabilities. Okay, it has the capabilities for you to be able to customize the company features to meet your needs. Okay, if you remember in the very first class where you were creating a company file, you were not able to provide all information. All information were not stated. Information like what's the registration number of the company, the tax number of the company, what's the entity type, and so on. So those informations were not stated here. They were not stated here. But however, since you're going to be printing documents like invoice, you'll be generating receipt, you even be printing out your reports for your customers, for your suppliers, for people you do business with, for your employees, for management report, accountant report, it is very advisable that you make this your number two priority when working in Sage. After creating your company file, you should come and manage your company settings, because it's very important, and Sage 50 provides that. It makes that available for you, so you can be able to also edit your company details. What if instead of AOM Limited, our company name have been changed, okay, to ABBA Limited? You still have to edit your company previous settings, and to do that you have to come to the company module, scroll down to where we have change company settings, and allow it to load. Be patient, it's going to load up so you can be able to perform that very task. So ladies and gentlemen, let's wait for it to load up so we can look into how can we be able to manage our company settings here in Sage. And like I said, it has to do with quite a number of things, which will be seeing a lot of features that Sage is going to provide for us under this company settings screen. And major highlight of what you should be expecting are features like the company details, the general settings, the VAT settings, the document and statement, that of the branding, the user defined feeds. All these are very important, And we'll be looking at also the email signatures, the multi-currency feature. They are all very important, and you must have a sound knowledge on how to customize them, or on how to go about them, as well as an important feature which we call the lockdown, which is also very important. You use it to be able call the lockdown feature, like I said. So the company settings screen, you can see, is now loaded. So the company settings screen contains all these tabs, from the company detail tab, which gives you breakdown, and each of these tabs has a breakdown of sub options. Okay, under the company's details tab, you can see the company details option being open, the additional company information, the customer zone. You can see the general settings section also have different breakdowns, like the financial year, rounding, regional settings, customer and supplier settings, item settings, outstanding balance, the personal information. You can see the VAT section. You can see the document and statement, which also makes it possible for you to do all necessary adjustments. You can see the branding, okay, which is also being made available. And you can also see the user defined field, which is very important for you. Okay, the user defined field has quite a number of important options which you must be able to adjust. You can see the branding section, you can see the email signature section, you can see the multi-currency also model being made available for you to perform that task. Okay, so these are very important, and this is what basically this makes it possible for you to be able to manage the company settings here. So let's start with the number one on our list, which is the company details. Now in this company details section, okay, this is where you'll be able to enter your informations, maybe primary or secondary informations about your company. Think about informations like your postal address, your physical address. Okay, this is where you do it. So if I have address to enter, which was not provided at the initial setup part, I'm going to click on that company details, and I come to company details, and you can see, so right here I'll be able to provide information for my postal address. I can enter the postal address. I can say postal address, I enter it. I can decide to also enter a postal code, okay, the postal code of the business. And I can also say I want to take care of I say the postal address, like I said, I just have to come here and say postal address is number 2. I can navigate to the number 2 William Street. So I can navigate using my back and my tab key on my keyboard. I can navigate to that. Okay, so I can enter it. I can put the postal code here as 50067. I can put the physical address of the company here. I can put say number 3 street, the area, just like that. I can put here also on this company details screen. I can change the name of the company. The name of the company is now BBB Limited. I can say BBB Limited. Okay, so I can always do that. I can also change the phone number of the company. If there's a new phone number, fax, mobile number, contact name. Contact name is important. It has to be the CEO. So I can put who is the CEO at the moment. Okay, contact name, I can say Mr. Alfred White. Okay, maybe it's the new CEO. I can do that. And if I want to, you remember when you did the initial setup, you provided an email address, so you may want to also change the email address, but since it was used, it's advisable you maintain it. Instead, you have to tick, do you want to use this email for communication which time you're sending documents, or you want to use Sage email and provider. Okay, for you to be able to do that, then it's expected that you provide a second email address which will be used to receive if for each document you'll be issuing out, this is going to maintain a second copy of those documents, and it's important especially for audit purpose, so you can have an evidence to always fall back to, and you can then tick on this always copy this email, so it will make it like mandatory and recurring without you specifying CC at all times. What the send company or send document screen, you'll be able to do that. So this is how you'll be able to make necessary changes. So I'm sure you're following. So once you're done with this, at every point of each of these dashboard, come down and click on what? Save. Click on save. Don't click on save and close unless you're done with everything before you click on save and close. If you know you still want to work in here, you say save, and it's going to save and update those changes and also keep you still on this same very spot so you can proceed. So once you're done with the company details screen, the next you need to look into is the additional company information section. Now let's look into that section. So if I click on additional company information, you can see it brings out an entirely separate dashboard. Okay, here what do you see? Here you're to provide information like the statutory information, which is very important, and you have to add your company registration number, your tax office, okay, address, your registered name. This is in my country, Nigeria, we have a registration name for those businesses that are registered with the CAC, Corporate Affairs Commission. You have to provide that. Okay, the registered name, you have registered your business, registration name, registration number. You have to also provide information like the city, okay, and province. So for province, you put in the state. Why city? You know, there are cities in every state. So you can say, okay, you're in Ikoyi, the province is Lagos, and the country is what? Nigeria. So Sage provides that feature for you to be able to maintain such information. So once you're done, you say save, so you can still maintain the same company settings screen. Then once you're done with that, you navigate to the new screen here, the new option here we have, which is referred to as the customer zone. Now the customer zone is a feature you have to enable. It depends on you, because think about a system whereby your customers can also view their transactions with you. They can have an insight to be able to see their transaction. And what makes this easier is more like a portal whereby it's being sent to their email, and once they click on that link, they'll be able to see, oh, they have a mini portal where they can be able to see their invoices. They'll be able to also make payments online. So it provides that feature here, which has to do with the customer zone. And like I said, you have to enable it. So if I don't want to maintain this, I can untick this, and this warning message is going to come up. I say yes, I don't want to use it, I want to disable it, and you will not be expected to even proceed with any other extra information relating to customer zone. But if I want, I can tick on it. So if I'm ticking on it, I'll be able to say yes, I want to enable. And you know, each time you process your documents, whatever transaction is processed, your clients are going to receive an email address regarding this, and that has to do with the setup you've already initially entered, which you have enabled from the customer zone settings. So ladies and gentlemen, moving forward, there are two options here. Is it that you want them to be able to view all invoices and quotation only, or to be able to view all invoices and account history? This should be the best invoices and accounts history. So you're going to tick it. What name do you want to appear on their customer portal, their customer zone? You still maintain the company name, or you want a different name? You can always navigate and change that. Okay, you can always clean this up and also effect what you want to see. Maybe you want them to see AOM customer portal. They'll be able to see that. So once you're done with that, you then click on save and not save and close, so that you can still be on this same screen. So ladies and gentlemen, once you're done with that very settings, the next option you need to look into here is this option we call the general settings tab, and it's very important, so please stay attentive as we look into this tab. So when I click on the general settings tab, it's going to show me quite a good breakdown, like the financial year. Now for the financial year, you know what it means when we say financial year, because every company has a financial year. They has a year that they started working in. So of course Sage enables you to set up the financial year, and the financial year majorly, you know, this is the current year, and by default Sage is going to tick the current year for you. So if we go to 2023, you can decide to add. Now how do you add a new financial year? You use the green option here. Now how do you remove or delete a year that, or a line that you don't want to use? You can use this to delete it, but you cannot delete the current financial year, That's why you're seeing that you're not allowed to delete it. Okay, unless I enter the new financial year by clicking on this add button, you can see 2023, and I can tick it that okay, we're in 2023, but we are in 2022, so I will put in 2022 and I can delete it with the red line. So that's just how to be able to add up. So that's just how to be able to add up your company financial years, or to remove your company financial year. Now if you look in below here, before you save, look in below here. Now you're going to see we have an option called lockdown date. Okay, now in Sage, closing an accounting period is not actually most times required, but a log date can be set to do what? To prevent any changes that affect financial ledgers on or before a desired date. And one way for you to be able to set such a date, for you to be able to prevent those changes that might affect your financial ledgers, is by ticking on this feature we call set a lockdown date. So setting a lockdown date here is very important, and normally each time I say, for example, let's say in this company AOM Limited, the managing director, whose name is Adekunle, maybe Adekunle wants to prevent, or the accountant Adekunle wants to prevent any changes to financial statements before, it could be before 1st of January 2023. What Adekunle has to do, what he has to do is that he has to set the lock date to what? To, who can answer that question? Let's say Adekunle wants to prevent any changes to financial statements before 1st of January 2023. Okay, the answer is that what Adekunle needs to do is that Adekunle needs to set the lock date, or the lockdown date here. He needs to change it or set it to what? To 31st of December 2022. And it's very important you take note of that. So in that way, if you try to edit if you try to edit or delete any transaction dated on or before the lock date, which is 31st, it could be 31st of every month when your books of account are closed, or of the year. Okay, if you try to edit or delete any transaction dated on or before that date, a warning message is going to appear. Let's try it. Let's say I set a lockdown date option, and I'm saying that I want to prevent changes made to the financial statement before. Okay, made to the financial statement. Let's use months. We are in October, so let me say before 1st of October. I want to prevent any changes to financial statement before 1st of October. Okay, 2022. All I have to do is I'm going to put the lockdown date as what? 30th of September. Okay, 2022, which is the last day. And I say what? Save and close. Now I want to leave, so I'll say save and close. So once I save this information, if I try to edit or delete any information, it's going to do what? Ensure that. Now there is an information here, that company name, company information is required, so I'm going to check that. So each time you have any prompt option, you always have to navigate. Okay, the company name was changed before, so we have to provide that back. Say we are looking at them. Our company name is AOM Limited, so I'm also going to save this since we have adjusted our company name. So once this saved up, let's take a look again at that very information under our financial year section. Okay, we can see this is being ticked, so we can save and close. So the save and close takes us out of this company settings screen. Okay, so now let's try to edit or delete any transaction dated on or before the lock date. If there was a transaction, which there is no transaction dated before the log date, but let's also, since there is no transaction dated before, let's enter a transaction, okay, before the log date. So what do we do to enter transaction? There are different ways to do your posting. Okay, which is another lecture. You can process normal journal entries, you can make a kind of payments transaction from your bank account directly. So if for example I am coming here to say there's a particular transaction which was taken care of through our bank, all I have to do is just to select the banking section there, so I can be able to to do that. Okay, so I can be able to take care of that tax. So I have to select the particular bank account. We have AUM Limited 1 million naira opening balance. So I will only have to navigate. Okay, right here I said that this is what I want to work on. So I said description, can be able to put the description down. So let's just say it's for a kind of an account. Okay, an account we are paying for repairs. So I'm going to select, and I can say repairs or rents. We paid for rents, and how much do we pay? We're going to use the spent column for the outflow, receive column for inflow. So spent, we spent 500,000. Okay, for rent. We made a kind of a mini payment for our rent. So once we have just entered that information, you can come here, you see quarter rent payment. Okay, quarter office rent payment, So once you have done this, the date could be that we have already locked the date. So let's say we are taking it back a date before the lockdown date we set, which was 30th. So we say this actually took place on the 29th, or you made a mistake. You wanted to put 29th of October. You went and put 29th of September. So once you're done with this, you're expecting that, of course, the normal process is for you to mark all selected as reviewed, okay, or is for you to also first of all select. Of course, you have to select that very transaction that you've entered, which I have to select it so I can be able to mark, or I save. So if I try to say okay, mark selected as reviewed, it's going to say no. Why? Because you can see it stated that a log date has been set. No transactions can be processed or edited with a date on or before the lockdown date, which we set as 30th of September. If I say okay, save changes, the same way it's not going to save. Okay, so you can temporarily remove the log date if you need or you want to edit a particular or delete a particular transaction, by going back to that very screen, setting screen. And if you uncheck the box when you come back to perform any task, which could be you want to edit a transaction, or you want to record a transaction, taking it backward, the date, or you want to delete the log date, once it is removed, the icon disappears and this is not going to pop up again. But however, if you leave the box checked, and you put a particular date, you will not be able to continue, because if you enter the log date again when you have completed the changes, you can always later go back and then remove it, then later you enter it on again. So the lockdown feature here is very important. We were not able to do this, so it helps you to avoid certain errors. Okay, it helps you to avoid certain errors because you're not the only one using the application. There might be other users, so you have to set up this feature so the other users will not go and make that mistake. Okay, that will affect your ledgers. Okay, affect your ledgers. And that's why I started by saying that in Sage, closing an accounting period is not really required, but a log date can be set to prevent any changes that affect financial ledgers on or before a desired date. And ladies and gentlemen, that's majorly the reason why you are here. And one more thing as regards that lockdown feature, you go back to your change company settings, is that the log date is useful in multi-user situations. Okay, as it helps you prevent typical restricted users from modifying locked transactions. So that's where it's very useful. So you can withhold access to your lockdown date feature to prevent them from unlocking restricted transactions and changing data, because people can be funny, users can be funny. They can decide maybe they actually stole from there's a part of a fraudulent activity took place, and to them they believe that after they will record it, they will go and change it back to a low amount, then they steal the money. Okay, but it will be surprising to them that this feature have already been enabled, and once it is enabled under the general settings financial aid section, they will not be able to do that. So the feature prevents them from unlocking restricted transactions and changing data. And also for administrators or restricted users with full access, the feature will still act as a reminder. You can see, of course, I'm the super user, but it still acts as a reminder, meaning that it doesn't care who you are. So it acts as a reminder to prevent accidental data modification, okay, where you as a super user want to change, maybe you didn't know. So they will need to deliberately, I will need to deliberately remove the log date before changing protected data. And of course, only the super user and of course only the super user has is going to be able to get to see this very company settings screen, because other users who are added into the application will be restricted. They have nothing to do with these settings managing company screen. Okay, so the best practice for temporary suspending the log date depends on who is authorized to make such changes and whether they will know the desired log date. So on checking the box, okay, if I come to uncheck this box, what it's going to do is that it will remove all visual evidence of a log date. So if I uncheck it, it's going to remove all visual evidence of a log date, and you need to navigate back to the log date page at all times, which you can access it here from the financial year section of the general settings. Okay, so recheck that box, okay, because the date will still be in place, and you always be able to get to see that. So always take note that the log date does not, lastly on this issue, the log date does not prevent modification of descriptions, it does not prevent modification of notes, it does not prevent other transaction modification, unless it only prevents it could prevent it does not even prevent your pending bank transactions from being cleared, provided you have not ticked it. So once it's unchecked, you can proceed with all that. But for ensuring efficiency, okay, to avoid inefficiencies which could lead to fraud, you are expected to set a lockdown date. So once you have been able to do that, you're already on the right track. So let's look at other features as we round up this session. So you now click on save again, so you be sure that yes, you have done that, and then you proceed to the rounding option. Now here in the rounding option, you can select a rounding system for your client's documents. Okay, a rounding system for your client document, and Sage provides different options under the rounding type. Okay, under the rounding type, you see options like the rounding up, rounding down. Okay, how you choose it, when you wish to use or specify the amounts to round up to so figure. No, definitely amounts could be in million, could have been approximated. So this feature is very important. So we have the round up, we have the round down, we have normal rounding or no rounding at all, nearest to 0. So you can see all those options here. So like I said, once you're done, you scroll down and you say save. Okay, so once you're done with that, you look into the aspect of regional settings. Now the regional settings section, you will select the options that you want to use in your company. Okay, you can set how many decimal places you want to use in your stock quantities or in your inventory quantities for all your inventory. This is where you come first of all to set how many you ask yourself how many decimal places you want to use in your inventory quantities or for your prices. You come here and put the decimal places. You say 3, 4, 5. Same if it has to do with your inventory, it's quantity decimal places. You enter the quantity decimal places, can change it to 3 or to 2. Okay, or you leave it 0. If it has to do with your price, you come to value decimal places, can change it to 1, 2, or 3. Okay, then you can also use the currency symbol to change the symbol of your currency if it's needed, and you can also set it the way you want the date in the application in all your documents to be reflected. So you can always do that. So I can come here and change the date. I want year, month, date, and year. I can be able to take care of that tax using that very option. So the next we have here is the customer and supplier settings. So for the customer and supplier settings, it's very important because here you are asking, you're going to set in command options for the system, that the system is going to set some warning messages, which is very important when it comes to inventory and system control relating to customer and supplier settings. For example, if I open it, you'll be seeing options like the system should warn you when duplicate customer reference is used, and of course you know it's not good enough when you're using same reference number for more than one customer, because it's going to duplicate it, and you're expected to avoid such kind of duplicate in order not to have a repeated kind of posting or transaction which could lead to some misstatement. Okay, so you have to set up all these features so you can be able to proceed. So you go through them and you can see how necessary they are relating to your organization type. So the next we have is the item settings. Now here you set up control settings for your items. It could be settings that has to do with you warning when item quantities are going to fall below zero. You can also create what we call unlimited price list. So if I open that item settings, you can see different control options which has to do with for your inventory management purpose, one when item quantities fall below zero. So you use this if the business is item based or inventory based, is going to be needed for effective management. So we have the unlimited price list, which is also very important. So here in Sage you can use the price list. Okay, you can link all the price list that you have set up, but first of all you have to set up price list. I can come here and set up let me say this is my discount, this is my discount price. Okay, let's say we are a consulting firm, we have consulting fee. I also put it, this our consulting fee. Okay, let's say we have admission fee, we are a hospital, we have admission fee. We say, or if we are in an institution, we have admission fee, we put it. Or we have registration fee, we can also put it, these are registration fees. A school, okay, we say these are registration fee. If we are into real estate, we have, or we are into housing and real estate lodging, we'll have our agent fee, we say these are agent fee. So if just like that, okay, you can have inspection fee, you come to and say this is our inspection fee, say real estate company says inspection fee. So what happens here is that when you create items here in Sage 50, you can link all this price list, you can link all these prices that you have set up, okay, to those items. And you can give each price list a unique name. You have your own unique name relating to your business type. Okay, and for example, again, let's say it's a trading company. Definitely I'm going to set up trade price list. Okay, price is relating to that trading company. And what I should basically have is me coming down here and saying that what I have is, I have the trade price list. Okay, I also have that of the let's say the retail price list, the retail price list, the retail price. No need of putting list, so I can always edit this by double clicking. So this is my retail price. Okay, I can also have our distributor price. So I also come, each time you want to add, you use the green plus. If you want to remove, you use the red minus it to remove each line. So I can click and say let me remove 11, price list 11. Okay, I can click there and it removes it. Then I click inside this, I say we have our distributor, this is our distributor price. So I've just entered that information. So once this is done, Sage is going to let you assign these different price lists per customer, that's or per client you'll be working with. So you're also able to copy your selling price. Definitely your services and your items are going to be set up with their respective prices, but you can decide to copy the price list here. Okay, maybe you have a particular client, what you're rendering to them is inspection, and you're going to give them, they're going to pay inspection fee. What you're going to do at that point is that you're going to copy your selling price from the price list. You're going to copy this inspection fee, use it to replace the price list for that very client. And how do you do that? You use a feature or an option called adjust item price. Okay, and to get to see that feature called adjust item price, you just have to come to the item section. And I say this item section is also used to represent your services. So when you come there, you scroll down to where we have transactions. So when you navigate to this section, you're going to see adjust item selling price. So this is where you're going to adjust the selling price to fit in that particular price list. And once you have done that, believe me, you're good to go with that. So don't forget all I have just made mention of, that you can also One more thing that you also need to know is that you cannot, however, delete a default price list which stores your current item price, and you can also not be able to delete a price list that has been linked to a particular customer. And if you have used inspection fee for a client, you cannot delete it later on. So you must be careful when you're working on this as you proceed. So once you're done with that, you save. So once you're done with that, you save and continue. So the next feature we have under the general settings is the outstanding balances. So Sage 50 generally has two methods of treating outstanding balance. Of course, you know what we mean by outstanding balance. Now, here in outstanding balance, what you should majorly concern it is what we call aging. So aging basically refers to the number of days that a customer or a supplier balance is outstanding. So you have to look into the number of days that your customer or supplier balance is outstanding. Okay, so customer and supplier aging can work on different schedule. Could be monthly schedule or daily schedule. Okay, from the date of the invoice. So you can use these options navigating. If is it monthly, you say monthly. Is it daily, you say daily. Then you also need to understand there's always a graph which will be displayed on what I call the drill down feature, which you always see on the dashboard. Sage provides powerful dashboard to give you more insight, getting to be able to display the entire picture, showing you unpaid invoices, outstanding based on the kind of schedule you've already set up. And it's important that you're able to select what pattern you want to use. Is it your aging period should be based on the invoice date or the due date? You can also do that, how you want to run that. So once you're done with that, you are done with outstanding balances. Then we have the personal information, which has to do with the retention period. So how long do you want Sage to retain all information you have provided in the application? You can put your years and also say 10 years, 3 years, 4 years, and you can also put in the reason for that. Could be based on company policy or company structure or blah blah blah. You can do that. Then we move to the next, which has to do with your VAT settings. Now a lot of businesses these days are majorly businesses that are VAT. They include VAT, okay, payments for VAT. So it's very important that you come here. If that business is related to VAT, you come and do what enable that. So right here in this VAT settings section, you will have to select all the options relating to your company's VAT settings. And most times a lot of persons used to be confused on how to go about this. I'm going to break this down for you. Now here in Sage 50 there are three methods. There are three VAT methods here in Sage 50. Now the first one is the invoice based, second is the payment based, the third is the no VAT. Now if your business is registered for VAT, like in Nigeria, we have our value added tax, which is remitted directly to the Federal Inland Revenue Service, and they have made it possible by providing what we call the Tax Pro Max. Okay, if I come here and say Tax Pro Max, so it's a good system you use, okay, to be able to do that. So take note of it. If your company have not yet registered, go straight to the IFRS office, so you can be able to also begin by setting up this, so making your VAT remittance easier and possible for you. So like I said, you must understand these different types of VAT, because you must select is it the invoice based, is it the payment based option, is it the no VAT. That's if your business is not related to this. Of course, there are businesses whose services are exempted from VAT. For example, it could be the medical and of services, pharmaceutical product and health products, and so on, educational and so on. So if you are not registered for VAT, you have to select the no VAT option for you to be able to do that. And trust me, it's an easy going one. So for the invoice based VAT, okay, you use this option for any standard form of VAT. Okay, it could be you want to process sales, you want to generate documents for your sales, for any of your each time you're doing sales. Okay, now the system accumulates the VAT liability, and if there is a requirement, the system offsets the liability with any VAT you pay on purchases. So this is the most commonly used. Okay, and of course if you come to report at the end of the period, it has to be done there's a policy on ground which has to be on the 21st blah day. So if you want to generate your VAT report, you have to come to your report, you can see the VAT, okay, and you'll be able to get that information. So for the payment based VAT, this is used in some countries, okay, that uses it. So what happens here is that payment of tax on sales is not is enabled. Okay, let me just say it's enabled on sales until the customer actually pays them. So VAT credit here or liability only occurs when you can receive a payment from a customer or when you can make a payment to a supplier. So at that point, the Sage system holds the provisional liability, until you process a receipt of payment, or after which it therefore transfers the provisional amount to the tax payable account, and you can always view those reports provided you have created an account called tax payable under the chart of account section where you see add an account. Then, like I said, the no VAT, okay, is also important because here you just specify direct that you're exempted from VAT. And your businesses, you have to understand, look into, is our business, is our organization exempted from VAT, yes or no, then be able to do that. So if you can see some options here, okay, you can select these, okay, because VAT is regulated and you should only make changes on based on advice given to you by a finance professional or a tax professional rather. And it's very important because you can edit your VAT percentages right here. You can see it's on 7.5%. okay, if you're exempt from VAT, whatever percent is exempted, or zero rate, you can do that. You can add the VAT number, the VAT last VAT period, the end date, last VAT submission due. When each time you submit, you have to submit, you come and ensure you put these, so there will be a kind of a VAT reporting frequency, which you can say monthly or on every 21st hours. Just that you can be able to do that. So once you're done with that, you save. Okay, you scroll down and save. So once you have saved, you then proceed to the next option we have here, which has to do with the document and statement. So the document and statement, has different options which you use to manage settings relating to all your documents. Okay, for example, I'm going to explain the statement message. So you can just enter messages on that you want to appear on your statement. Okay, messages like current or in 30 days, blah blah blah. You go through it. These are statements you want to appear in each of your, when you print your statement, each of your statements is going to show this information, okay, that you want. Under current, you can put bank details that you want to appear on your invoice relating to your customer or any other information. So for the document numbers, you set up your order number, your invoice number, how you want it. You might want to use your company name. We can say AOM. Can say want to change it, you come to the new section, say AOM01. So each document for each quotation should follow AOM01 as a number. Okay, as a number. You can say our invoice also should follow AOM01. Okay, so each generated will now follow this format. So that's just to do that. Then you save. Then you come to document description. You can also impute a description for all your document. You can also impute other informations which are also very important for you, like the customer document messages that you want to appear, your supplier document messages you want to appear on your purchase order or your supplier document, your invoice statement, and how your invoice should be structured. Okay, do you want to use which layout style do you want to use? You can navigate over here. Your quotation, say it provides different layouts format. You have to make research on which is better. Do you want discount to be excluded from it? Do you want your logo to be large? You can always click and be able to view it. Do you want your balances to be on the next page? You can do that. So once you're done, you say save. Or you can also import a kind of a format of your each of these documents, your delivery note or your purchase order format that you want to be maintained. You can import it. So once you're done, you move to the branding. So the branding has to do with you providing a logo for the company, because definitely every company should have a logo. So you have to set up the logo and the position of the logo. So once you're done with that, you move to you save and move to the user defined field section. Now Sage provides this field called the user defined field, and it helps you to be able to provide additional information that is not provided, which you want to maintain. Let's say for customer, it could be this a hospital account, and then the hospital will maintain information like date, patient's admitted date, amount owed by patient. Now you have to provide those information in the respective field. If the answer to the information is going to be in text format, you come here and put date of admission for the staff of admission. And of course, you know, when you're entering date of admission, it's not going to be under text values because it's going to be a date. The response is going to be in date format. So you're going to cut this, come to where we have date values, and impute that under date values, and impute that under date of admission, under date values. So once you're done with that, you can save. So if it is something depending on the kind of company, if it's a real estate firm, you know those additional information you want to provide. Okay, if it has to do with supplier, you move to the supplier section and provide those information. If the answer is in numeric format, you come to numeric. You say yes or no kind of information you want to maintain, you provide it under this field, and when you go to that respective module, okay, to enter that transaction or to record that event, whatever took place, actually financial activity involved, and you're going to see this being reflected under what we call the user defined field. And you can also do that setup for your items. You can, maybe the company sells cars, you can maintain information like color of car, car color, car brand, car expiry date. You provide all that here. Okay, you can also warranty date. You can also do that for all your assets. You can also do that for all documents and transactions that you want it to be displayed. So once you're done with that, you can then proceed to email signatures, which is important. You want to provide signatures for all your documents. You can add your signature, you can manage your signature, you know, to be able to show that. Then depending on the document that it's needed, but I'm not sure signature is needed in any of this. So you can also use the multi-currency feature, especially if you have already signed up making payment for the license to use the application. So once you're done with this, ladies and gentlemen, like I talked about the user defined field, you can then save. Okay, each time you go to let's say want to perform a transaction for a particular supplier, maybe want to prepare or so want to make payment to a supplier, or want to prepare a particular transaction. Okay, let's say of course it starts with preparing of our supplier purchase order, whatever it could be. If I click on add purchase order, or like I said, there are different things you can do over there, but if I say I want to add a purchase order here, I can add a purchase order here. But since no user defined field feature was added, I should not be expecting to see it over here. But like I talked about, even when you're working here with your customer, you can be able also to see, when you want to add quotation, the user defined field, it's also going to appear for you to maintain so information, provided you have also entered that. Same proceeds also when it comes to your item, provided you have also provided that information. You can see for our item, you can navigate to your price list. Okay, you will see all the price lists we have set up, provided we have created the item. So you can be able to select the price list which have been set up, and I don't think we have saved those price lists. If we have saved them, it will be here. So for the user defined feed, those information provided, if we have saved it, it will always be under the user defined feed. So like I said, always make sure you save all what you have saved so that you can be able to work here on Sage. So like I said, we have not saved that, and I can navigate back to the company section. If we come to financial general settings, under price list, can see it's not here. So let's close this class with this. So we said we have our inspection price. Okay, we have our inspection price. We say we have our trade price. Depending on the business, we have our agent's price. We have our consultation fee. We have our charges. We have our distributor, and so on. So once I can stop here and say save and close, I want to leave here. So once I say save and close, if I go back to the item, here, and I come to where we have what, say let me add a particular item, or maybe I want to make sales. If I come now to the price list section, it's going to pop up list of all the price list. You can see them here. Okay, the inspection price, the trade price, and I'm going to enter the amounts here. I can say the inspection price is 20,000, the trade price is this, and so on. I can do all that. Okay, so once I'm done with that, I'll be able to set it both for the exclusive price and the inclusive price, and then stay tuned with us as you'll be made to understand all this very well. Okay, so thank you very much for following us. Thank you for staying tuned. Don't forget to visit our YouTube channel and also to subscribe to our YouTube channel to stay tuned for more of our programs coming soon your way. And for those of you interested in any of our programs, we have newly featured training on financial modeling and financial statements mapping, which is very important. And also we have training on data analytics and using applications like Power BI when it comes to the visualization aspect, and also other applications, all accounting software training. You can visit our YouTube channel. Just as I opened that of the tax promax, you can visit our YouTube channel. The name of our channel is Williams Miracle YouTube channel. You can visit that to be able to navigate, or you can as well visit our website on miramore.com.ng to get started with us. This is our website, so you can visit our website. You scroll down to any section. Is it training you want? You can go to the training and support section. Is it we also offer accounting and audit services, okay, which you can also visit and get in touch with us based on our bookkeeping service, our reconciliation service, and other of our services like our auditing service and our payroll services, which we provide. And here are quite a number of reasons why we are tested and trusted. And one of the reasons is because our audit partners here in Miramore ensure that the audit is conducted in line with best practices, and we look out for the risks your company faces now and is likely to face in the future, and we advise you accordingly. And we don't only provide you with your detailed financial statement at the end of the assignment. We also provide our clients with management reports which capture the internal control deficiencies as well as the critical gaps in the business. So thank you very much for staying tuned in this class on managing your company. Thank you, and have a lovely day. Thank you.